Data people, this is Tommaso Lucentini, a recruiter in data working for the coolest companies on the planet and working with the coolest and best talent in London, working for the best companies in the world. And what I'm finding out from people and from hiring manager is incredible. And here today, I'm going to talk about feeling stuck in data career, which apparently, according to a poll that I recently launched on LinkedIn, is the top #1 worry the data analysts have in their careers in 2025 right now. The others are fears of layoff, not getting enough interviews, and then worried about AI. I will do a video about each of them, but you don't see it now, but in the background, but I have written data and coffee. I have written an article on my newsletter on LinkedIn called Coffee and Data that I'm going to talk about all those things in a different way, but it's going to be on LinkedIn, so I'm going to leave a link below. And if you want to sign up and read, that would be great. So first of all, we should say something. If you're feeling stuck in data, you're not alone, but also you shouldn't be too worried. First of all, because you have a job, which is not something that a lot of people have right now. A lot of people are out of jobs and are looking for the next data career. So the fact you already have a job is great. It means that you have a basis that you can rely your learnings on in order to be more employable in the future and get unstuck in your career. Also, you can manage to do any internal moves that right now might feel really hard for you to do, but actually by doing certain things that I'm going to explain in the video, you're going to manage to potentially get unstuck even within your own company and grow in your data career even right now. Usually people that are feeling stuck in their careers in data, they are not happy, they are not growing, and they feel that there's something missing. Therefore, what do? They try to do their job on an autopilot. There are not many opportunities internally. Maybe there's a boss that won't allow you to grow because it has that position that you want, or maybe there is not enough opportunities within the company because the situation is not great. There are layoffs, means there is not need for the data team and for you to grow. So first of all, we should find what is the skill gap that you have right now in order for you to move ahead in your data career. The skill could be Python, it could be communication, it could be influencing stakeholders, it can be learning a new industry. Anything like that can be a skill gap that you want to focus on in order for you to move ahead. So how do you find this skill gap? Is by understanding and analyzing the market. And analyzing industry trends is really helpful for you to understand, compared to all the data professionals, where are you lacking? But then it's more important for you to understand, based on what is the career move you want to make in the future, what is the skill that you need to learn for you to be more employable and more likely to get the job that you want. So in order to do that, what I would suggest is that you take at least 10 to 30, more the better, job descriptions that are the ideal jobs that you want to do in the future. Analyze all the skills that you can find in there and see how you compare against that. You might find that maybe 90% of the jobs that you want to apply to, they need Python expertise and you don't have that, or you have quite a low level of Python, and therefore whenever you're going to come up in interviews that you may be doing right now, coming up as strong as other competitors of yours. So the skill gap analysis is really important for you to understand what are you missing based on the next career move you want to do. And then once you find that skill, what should you do? So you should obviously practice it in order to be able to put it on your CV. And if the level that you have is not ideal, then you want to do something about it and you want to make sure that your skill shows up on top of the CV. So how are you going to do that? In few ways. So let's take Python as an example, as we talked about it already. So let's imagine you don't have really strong Python experience. Let's imagine also that in your company there is no opportunity to learn, there is nobody that knows Python, so you're left alone. A lot of people in data think that they cannot improve on that skill because they don't have it, because they cannot practice it at work, but actually you're not wrong. But actually you're not completely right. Because, for example, let's imagine that you analyze data on Excel every week and you spend a lot of time doing the same analysis over and over. So what could you do? You could use Python to automate your tasks so that whenever you have to do that same job again, then you automate it and you're able to do that job much quicker. So how can you do that? Obviously, you need to study that skill, you need to practice it, And it's going to be useful in your job because actually you're going to use it to automate and speed up your work, which is going to be helpful for the company as well. And once the company find out that, for example, you improve Excel reporting by using Python, then they might ask you to do something else, or they might ask you to be moved in a different team because then they see how good you are with that and maybe they want to give you extra tasks and therefore your value would rise. So let's imagine you practice Python for a long time in your company and therefore you feel really confident with it. That's great. Then you want to put it on your CV so that you can come closer to the job that you want to do. And then obviously the other thing you can do, for example, if you want to showcase that you can use that skill in a different environment, let's imagine that you cannot practice that in your job because it's something else. Maybe you want to learn Power BI and there is no Power BI within the company. So what can you do about it? Obviously you can have maybe a free license, or you can find a way to use Power BI, and then you can create your own projects, visualize some things that you want to visualize because maybe that's interesting for you, and use that visualization in a portfolio to showcase your work to your future boss. So there are a lot of ways that you can practice your skill, but the most important thing is that you understand what is the skill you need, you practice the skill, and you showcase what you can do through a portfolio or through your CV. Obviously, this is something that takes a long time actually, because learning Power BI, learning Python, learning SQL, learning all those skills actually will take some time. People have 1, 3, 5 years of experience using that skill already every day in their job, and therefore they will be definitely more qualified than you. But if you get to a point where you're actually quite decent and you can showcase that skill in a technical test, then you might overcome that person by having other skills that the other person might not have. So it takes time. The next suggestion is take at least 3 to 6 months to plan your next move, because right now you might be applying to every job that comes up, hoping that it's going to be the one. Maybe because you get some interviews and therefore you think that you were gonna get that job soon, but maybe that's not the case. You're just panic applying and panic interviewing right now, because unless you come really close with it quite often and you just need that extra interview for you to land a job, that's great. But let's imagine that you get some interviews, you get to the first stage, but you don't get usually ahead of that, then that means that you have some skills that are left, some skills that are not aligned to what the company wants, or also you're applying to a job or to an industry that you don't have experience in, so you want to have more time to actually practice the skill and improve the CV that you have to make sure that employers value your CV and your profile a lot more. So you want to take a long-term approach, which is 3 to 6 months, to make sure that you have the right skills, make sure that you practice them, make sure that you do everything else we're gonna talk about in the video, so that you can take an approach and then you will have more opportunities because your profile is strong and you can find actually a better job. And third, you need to network. I say that all the time, you must be completely bored of hearing that again. But networking is so important, and there are 3 ways that I advise you to network if you feel stuck in your career. First way is to network with peers, because that allows you to understand what other people have in terms of skills that you might not have, and get their understanding of the market. You can ask for referrals in that case to other people that might be useful to you, maybe because they work in a company that you would like to work for, and you never know, maybe that person within that company might have a need because their boss is looking for another person similar to them. So network with peers because of that, and also use them as job search buddies in order for you to have another way to find other jobs that eventually you would have never found alone. For example, your recruiters might contact them because maybe they are more visible on LinkedIn than you, and then they can refer you because maybe they're not looking for jobs, so they're not really interested, or maybe the job is not for them and therefore they will be happy to suggest somebody else. And obviously you can do the same for them. If they contact you for a job that you might not be very skilled on, or maybe you don't want, then you can refer it to them. It's a win-win scenario. Second, you want to connect with a future you, person that is currently doing the job that you really like, or has done the job before and now is ahead of or a manager in another position. So networking with those kind of people obviously is super cool and super important, because you can understand actually what is it that they need, how they've done that path, and they can suggest you things that you can improve in your current job to actually do the job later. And obviously they might be hiring in the future, therefore they might be hiring for somebody like you, and getting to know you is really important because they might have a position for you. But also be humble, explain them what you want to do, and then be in front of them as much as possible because it's really important. And third, don't forget about recruiters. Recruiters like me are really important because they can connect you with jobs that you would not have the opportunity to see because maybe their company is not really publishing, is not really advertising jobs outside. And therefore it's really important because you can find jobs that you would not find alone, but also you can get a lot of advice on what they think that your profile does have to get the job that you want, because as recruiters, we are in contact with a lot of hiring managers and we see how they hire, what they value, and we can give you a lot of tips that eventually you would not have from anybody else. So these three are the three things that I would suggest you to focus on if you feel stuck in your job right now, because first of all, you would understand what the market needs, you would understand what are the top jobs that you would like to get, and understand what you need to get them. Second, you can actually practice important skills that are valued right now in the world of data, and therefore you can open up opportunities internally but also within another company. And third, connect to people, because you can find out things that you would not find out by looking for jobs on LinkedIn, and therefore this will allow you to have maybe some extra confidence and understand things that you would not find anywhere else. So if you feel stuck in your job right now, it's not something that you are alone with, because there are a lot of people that have the same problems and it's super common. But don't let you down, don't put an autopilot on your job, because if you are not learning anything, then it's going to be even harder to find a job. It's a vicious circle, so make sure that you're positive, make sure that you take enough time to look for the job. And the job market right now might not be incredibly positive for people that want to change job or change careers, and it will change in the future, and you want to get ready for that. So good luck for that. If you want to see similar videos, just look at my channel and obviously subscribe, and so that you can see similar videos, and see you in the next one.